Welcome, beautiful people. It's always a pleasure to have you here. My name is Sianoki. I share with you palm nut soup, authentic Ghanaian palm nut soup. Okay, and I'm doing this in my clay pot. And it's always exciting to do something in this clay pot. So for my protein, I have this cow foot, okay, and then I have some crabs, but I decided not to add the crabs at the beginning. We'll get to that. So with me here is some onions, and to that I'm adding some garlic and ginger. I'll be adding just a little water to blend this. Now I had a lot of onions and some of them were going bad, so I decided to blend the ones that were becoming very soft. So I'm not using all of this for the soup. I'll be using that for some other dishes. Okay, so after I blended it, I'm just topping it up with the rest of the onions. Now this is one way I store my onions when I have a lot of them. Okay, so right now it has my ginger, my garlic, my pepper. I'm just keeping this in my ice cube containers, and what I'll do is cover it in the rubber and put it in my freezer and use it for later. Okay, now back to the main dish. I'm adding some of this mix to um, my cow food, and then once that is done, I'll be adding my spices. So I'll be adding some seasoning cube, my dried mixed herbs, coriander, cumin, and fennel seeds powder, and then these are some local spices. I'll leave the link to all these recipes in my description box. Okay, the recipes to the spices, apart from the seasoning cube, they are all homemade. So I just give this a nice stir, I cover, and then let's go out. Okay, so the clay pot, we usually go out, and onto my clay pot goes that. Now I shared a video some time ago where I boiled my palm nuts with some turkey berries I pounded. So what happens is that usually I do that and then I store it in my freezer. I have a video on that, how I store my palm fruits, okay, in my freezer for a long time. So I took it out, it thawed, and then I poured some hot water on it. Because it is hot, I'm unable to go in with my hand, okay, so I just went in with some, my ladle, and then I am giving it a fair strain. I'll take everything out, okay, and then now I'll add some water, room temperature, you know, and then I would put my hand in there, get the best of this palm fruit, okay, by taking away the chaffs and washing it, making sure that I extract as much as I can from this. Once this is done, I am going to give this a nice strain. Making palm nut soup is such a task if you have to do everything from scratch, but pounding this thing and keeping it in my freezer really saves me a lot of time. So if you have some free time and you really like some palm nut soup and you want the fresh one like this, that is one way you can make life very simple for yourself. Yeah, so after washing and taking out the kernels, I am going to rinse the chaff, the murphy, or the fiber from it. Ideally, I'm supposed to pound this again. That's what we do. But it was a meal prep day. I was doing so much and I was just not going to stress myself. I was not having it. Yeah. But ideally, what we do is that after straining it, you pound the fiber to get the most of it. Okay. And then do you know the kernel too? We use it like for palm kernel oil. I've shared a recipe on that on my channel. Just for the sake of knowledge, it's not something I do. I do often. Yeah, but you can check on that as well. Now I'm giving this a final strain using my fine strainer that would trap all the others that moved or passed or escaped the colander. So yeah, this is what we have. See all of this that I extracted from that. So we go back outside and we check on our cow food, and at this point the stock around it had taken nicely. I didn't even add any water to this. I just added, what we blended, the veggies to it. It had taken nicely. And this is the reason why I didn't add the crabs at the beginning, because I'll be stirring, and because I didn't add any liquid to it, I wouldn't want the crabs to sort of, break apart. So at this point, I added my crabs, and then I'll be adding the palm nuts extract, or the palm fruit extract, to this. Now I have with me some mackerel and catfish that I also did not add from the beginning because I wouldn't want them to break apart. So at this point I had cleaned them nicely, and I'll be introducing them into the soup. One way I preserve my tomatoes is to boil it down and blend together. Okay, now on this day I boiled down a tomato like that, similar, but I didn't blend it because it was quite late, so I just tied it into my freezer. So that is what I've taken out for it to thaw. Okay, I also have with me here some shallots. The Ghanaian shallots are really tiny, and it's such a task peeling them, but they are so fragrant. My grandmother says they are the lavender that gives, okay, how do I put that? Lavender, soups lavender. Well, so I added the shallots to the tomatoes, and then I'm giving it a blend. I'm blending this nice and smooth, and once that is done, I'll be adding that to the soup, and it gives you this beautiful fragrance, this beautiful taste. If you have some shallots, try adding that to your soup. You'll really love it. um, Even though it's so annoying to peel them, they are so tiny. Kindly note that my tomato was already boiled down. If you are using fresh tomato, you may want to add it when you add the palm extract so that it can soften for you to blend. Okay, now if you have some basil, please don't spare it. But I have with me here these love leaves. They are so beautiful, sweet potato leaves that I planted, that is growing in my backyard. And so I'm adding that to it. And as usual, guys, this is the part I like, the part that the pot is off the fire. This is 5 minutes off the fire, and it's still boiling like this. Okay, so make sure that you take your soup down or your food down if you're using the clay pot when it is about 98% done. Okay, so that it finishes cooking off the fire. Beautiful people, just look at this. I have some rice balls here, and then we are having this soup with the rice balls, and it's so good. Give it a try, you will love it. And see, I'm not saying anything anymore. But then just look at our spice blend. Okay, what I kept in the in my cubes later, I've taken it out, they are frozen, and I'm just putting it back into my plastic. I'll put it in my freezer, and then I use it anytime that I want to do something. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again. Mwah.